My name's Aaron, welcome back to my channel. How are you? I'm fantastic. And today I'm reviewing Lempicka and Masculin. This is discounted to £28.99 for 100ml, but it did have that at £45 for 100ml. And this is licorice, cedarwood, barleywood, vanilla, aniseed rum and green ivy. So there's a couple of notes in there I don't like. I don't really like green ivy, and I don't really like aniseed. I have these sort of things in my lab, but I've never really reached them. It's not what I particularly like, so I want to put that out there as a disclaimer. For this price I'm expecting aroma chemicals and a few naturals, but I'm expecting it done particularly well. But the price again is quite staggering. Do we have our fragrance samples? Are we engaged with a high self? Let's get testing. So this is a completely new smell to me. It's very, very different and unique. Masses of hedione. So this is built around hedione and some ozonic molecules to really give masses of elevation and projection in the formulation. So it's very, very stable, and primarily it is vanillin, ethyl maltol, coumarin. There's a sweetness to it. It's very sweet. It has some irisy raw materials, so this is sort of sweet, fluffy, irisy, vanilla. And it has some green raw materials in, so I'd imagine some of the salicylate raw materials and salicylates are used to bridge floral notes to wood notes, or can extend a cleanliness sort of feel to the formulation, sort of quite background. Within the formulations they can sort of really help to deal with the backbone. They're quite inexpensive, but they're really good raw materials to work from. And some are liquid at raw materials. The cis-3 salicylates, benzyl salicylates, is solid at room temperature, and generally when you have a solid at room temperature it helps to act as a fixative and helps to latch onto the skin. Viscosity is one of the most important things in perfumery. If you're dealing with the different viscosities, and viscosity is thickness and flow. So if something is solid at room temperature and has no movement at all, you know it's going to dampen a formulation down, but it could help to latch onto the skin. And something is liquid at room temperature, it would sort of have more of a viscous quality to it and would help to work in a different way. And sort of combining all these viscosities is another skill a perfumer particularly has to have. You have to really understand viscosity, and you really have to understand what you're doing with these sort of things. Salicylates have safety regulations. They can be quite toxic, sort of, and aroma chemicals can be quite toxic actually if they're not used at these sort of safe levels, and it's normally dermal irritation. This reminds me a little bit of that Moschino Toy Boy. It's like a similarity to it. Very sweet. Masses and masses of hedione to it. Just the hedione gives that sort of head quality. It's very heady, very masses of top notes in this. I think it's very nice. On to my final thoughts. A little bit underwhelmed, but I think it's very good. And I think the licorice note isn't too much in there. Initially it was quite in there, but it's trailed out quite a lot. And you're left with sort of some really lovely green quality. The green leafy raw materials aren't too green and leafy, but they're very nice in there. And it's all very, very well composed and excellent. For the price I think it's excellent, but you are really left with something that smells like expensive fabric conditioner, which I personally really like. This smells like a really, really good fabric conditioner. The major raw materials are beautifully composed in there to help give with the greenness and softness to it. It's very soft and velvety and has some sweetness and deliciousness to it. I think the formulation is excellent for what it is. A little bit simplistic, but really well done, very safe, very stable. This doesn't feel particularly taxing on the brain. I think it's an excellent fragrance to wear, to just grab and put on. This is going to be really good on light skin actually, and terrible on dark skin, so this will be gone quite quickly from my skin because of the lack of must, the lack of fixatives, the lack of raw materials to help really anchor it to the skin and project it out massively, and they are very expensive. But if you're making a fragrance that is quite inexpensive, you're not going to reach for those raw materials. For what it is, so I'm going to bear in mind the price I think is really good. For the formulation for the price I think is excellent. So, and it's not saying anything crazy about it. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 4 for the formulation because it fits the brief and it fits the cost. And I'm going to give it a 2 out of 2 for the price. Do I like it? Not really. For me, it's so flat. It's the Parma Violet-y thing that's similar to the Moschino. It's just going to be gone quite quickly, and I think it's okay. I'm going to mark it a 7 out of 10. I think it's quite underwhelming, but I think it's excellent for what it is, and I think the price and formulation is excellent. I think it's very, very safe. It would fit all its regulatory paperwork, but I think it's a little bit underwhelming. But if you love vanilla, light, airy, ozonic sort of fragrances, drying down to slightly irisy, slightly green, sweetness to it, easy to wear, very, very unoffensive, zero darkness to it, zero filth to it, smelling like really expensive fabric conditioner, and this is your fragrance for you. I always very, very aware that there's people out there who are relying on me to help them spend their money, and for this I think it's a little bit underwhelming. So if you love that review, thumbs up and subscribe for more fascinating, interesting content, lots of moving hands and lots of fragrance reviews. I hope you're staying safe and well, and I'll see you soon.